Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, Arm of Wrath, as promised yesterday. Day 6 on the 26th. Countdown to Ash Wednesday, which could be the 1st of March in the evening. But let's lead into this. Yesterday, Travis Wayne Goodsell had a guy in his comments show up on my screen. And again, I remind you, I check my comments after uploading a video. So, if you don't see your comment posted before the upload of a video, and you're one who knows that I post your comments, not somebody who's going to be unsound, like talking about astrotheology or Christian doctrine of Jesus. Jesus gives peace, or Mormons. You need to leave us alone to hate and pay Putin to destroy the world. It's our religious freedom. Yeah, you're not going to see those comments ever. But under normal conditions, my subscribers and regulars make comments that I approve of. Yesterday, I did not see any on TWG, for example. If you commented yesterday, before my last video of the day, YouTube is hiding it from me. And I don't know, apparently they're also hiding my comments from you. I've heard a few people say, oh, I just found this. So, YouTube is helping the enemy, as they are a communications medium, and they're purposely withholding information from us to support Putin, the church, and the overthrow of America and the world governments. That's why they shut down Travis Wayne Goodsell, banning me from posting videos until April 21st. I mean, that's an extremely harsh penalty, as they claim, oh, that's policy, nothing we can do about it. Yeah, there is something you can do about it. You can back off and let freedom of speech dominate, but not abusive speech, which is what YouTube is doing. That's a hate crime. But they were ordered by the church to shut down false Christ of the Great and Abominable Church. And they made the claim that it was medical misinformation. When I did the clip on TWG of me saying follow the medical professionals, they just lie to silence my voice. That's the level of hate of YouTube that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints incites. So the comment on Travis Wayne Goodsell yesterday, it was about my Martin Luther King Jr. video that made it before YouTube shut me down. And in there I half joke about the church in Utah not celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It's all about the days of 47. And I say half joke because I used to work for the church at the distribution center in Beehive Clothing. Every year, I was asked by my supervisor, so are you going to take off Martin Luther King Jr. or are you going to take off the 24th of July? You can only choose one. Each and every single year. And being dominantly Mormontown tends to have the majority of Mormons take off the 24th. And so, yes, they obviously have to celebrate it. It's a federal holiday. So the federal government is closed, and the state government, I believe, takes it off also, looking for any excuse to take days off. But the business community, because of the added state holiday, chose Martin Luther King Jr. as the alternative holiday to take off. And of course, with less than 2% black in Utah, why do you think they chose Martin Luther King Jr. Day? And so the dumbass was thinking that I was misinforming the public with my half joke, which is based in reality. That's the beauty of jokes, is that there is a basis of truth by which the joke is told. And if you have to explain the joke, it's no longer funny. But he was trying to pull the knuckleheaded stunt of, oh, you're misinforming the public. I can't believe a thing you're saying. Everything you say is now wrong because I don't get your joke. And I did the video the other day, having watched a Bill Maher episode. I still have to watch his one from last night, the segments that are available on YouTube. But it was about a woman who had escaped from Scientology. And she was explaining why Scientologists don't recognize that Scientology is so evil. See, we as Mormons, oh, well, yeah, because they're not the true Church of Jesus. So obviously they're evil. That's not rational thinking. It is evil, but not that way. There was I can't remember the passage, and I don't remember the wording in the in the book of Acts. No, actually, it was in the Gospels, because Jesus is the one who responds to them. The apostles come to Jesus and say that there's a person who's going around telling everybody the church is true, and the apostles are saying, well, they don't have our authority, and I can't remember. It just popped into my head from remembering it, so I can't remember key words to search for it, as I've already got Wratharm up on my screen here. And it was, don't listen to them, because they don't know what they're talking about. They're going around saying, oh yeah, church is true, but they're not speaking the truth. They're misinforming the public. And so it's like Mormons. We go out on missions. Oh yeah, Joseph Smith saw Jesus Christ and Heavenly Father, and they said, Joseph, all of Christianity is wrong. I'm going to have you create the one true Christian church, and Jesus is going to be your Christ. That's the same scenario. Sending people out who don't even know what they're talking about to misinform and lie to the public, it doesn't do any good. You know, Mormons think, oh yeah, the gospel is being preached to all the world. No, it's not. That's the wrong gospel. Jesus is not the gospel. He's not the good news. And the Mormons don't know this. And the Scientologist, freed Scientologist, explains that Yes, the leaders order not to go online, not to listen to critics of the world, because they are heathens, and Mormons can recognize the same pattern. Prophets tell us, oh, stay off social media and the media. They throw that in. And don't listen, don't be friends with non-Mormons. Nelson changed that. Ditch your Mormon friends and go convert the non-Mormon friends. But I don't have non-Mormon friends. I was told not to have them. Now you're telling me to ditch my Mormon friends who have taught me that Mountain Dew is evil and wearing a dress that is slightly above the knee is evil and whorish. And so that order from the leaders, then yes, the followers then take it to the extreme, as they then discredit and discount any other viewpoint. They self-fulfill the leaders' own teachings, indoctrinations, by only studying what they are given to study and interpret it to self-fulfill the meaning and interpretation of those scriptures. Just like in Mormons. The Sunday school lessons. You're going to have the Sunday school lesson tomorrow. If you watch my video that I did this week for tomorrow, you're going to not recognize the different. You're going to see completely different lessons. And the manual, I know the people who made those manuals. People, regular Mormons, who are not experts in the field, made those manuals. And they purposely made them to promote the lie. They purposely left information out. They purposely misinform. Like last year's Doctrine and Covenants lesson on Section 101's parable. Dear God, they called Mormons the servants because they don't want the prophets associated with the servants in that parable. Even though we all know Amos 3:7, surely the Lord God will do nothing save he shall revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. That was purposely done through the manuals to mislead, misdirect, and indoctrinate in the wrong information. And just as Scientologists, Mormons likewise discredit ex-Mormons and non-Mormons, saying, oh, they just don't understand. The ex-Mormons, they weren't studying their scriptures. They weren't faithful in attending church and going to the temple and listening to the prophets and being obedient, strict obedience. And thus they fell away. Lucifer got a hold of them and dragged them down to hell. This is the Mormon viewpoint. And it's exactly the same as Scientology that woman was describing. I was going, yeah, that's Mormonism. I'm born and raised Mormon. I did my scripture study. I went to church. I went to seminary. I graduated from Rick's College with religious Mormonism as my field of study. Got back from my mission. Took all the religion courses. Went up to Canada with the wife. Went to Institute along with my education in Bible studies, which was science-based this time. But went to Institute, took all the courses, even though I was getting influenced by the world's knowledge. And that's where you went wrong, Travis. Yeah, I went into philosophy of science also. I was just taking courses. There was no major. My final semester, the guidance counselor sat me down and said, you've been here for a couple years now. You don't have a major. Let's see what we can do. She created a major for me. And so it was a dual bachelor's with a minor. I didn't care. I took the courses I wanted to learn for the knowledge I wanted to obtain. And it was because of my being born and raised Mormon. But the philosophy of science, which is developing scientific-based logical arguments for theory development, where you provide a test for confirmation. That was philosophy of science that I took. And I was told by the one institute instructor up there at Lethbridge, Alberta Institute, don't go into those courses. Every Mormon who goes into those courses loses their testimony. I was smart enough even back then to know you don't lose a testimony. You either have it or you don't. In the Book of Mormon, people who get to the tree and partake of the fruit of the tree of life and are shamed, yeah, that's what happens. You know the fruit is good, but because of the peer pressure, you denounce it. Mormons do this on a regular basis, but they don't get to the fruit. They're Laman and Lemuel, and they don't realize it. I have been a major influence in your life. Those of you who are younger than me, which are very few of you, according to the analytics, or if you have a foreign language edition after 2009. And so 1981, I guess, would be the first males, but no, it would have to be 80, because it was still 19 years of age in 2000. Well, when did Monson make the change? It was while the church had me locked up in their Nazi concentration camp when he made the change. But regardless, you had to be young enough to have gotten the foreign language editions of the scriptures with the guide to the scriptures in them. If you got those and you actually did your study and your research with them, yeah, you've been influenced by me. I've been doing the videos talking about how I've been involved in that project. I don't go around telling people this, but I share it every now and then when appropriate in a video. I can't do this in every single video. And the way YouTube has it set up, you come to a video where I'm not giving this introduction. But all of this has to do with the wrath of the arm today. So bear with me. I am the foremost Mormon scholar. And yes, intellectual. It's good to be wise, as long as you hearken unto the counsels of God. I've done that. Mormon, born and raised, obedient, 100% attendance. I even went to the temple every single day it was open when I moved to Utah and was abandoned. I have much of the temple texts memorized, as I've demonstrated in several videos. I know the origin of our religion. That was my field of study with the dual bachelors. Bible studies was actually scientific ancient Middle Eastern cultures. But she didn't have a clue as to what she was saying. She thought that Biblical Hebrew and Greek and Latin were ancient languages. They're classical. And actually, Biblical Hebrew, I think, is medieval or Dark Age rather than classical, because once the Constantine takes over, you enter into the Dark Ages, and so Biblical Hebrew was created during the Dark Ages. So, but despite those technicalities of her ignorance of my subject matter, I then went on to the University of Utah and got involved in moral philosophy and developed the publications involving Mormon philosophy, Mormon morals and ethics, because nobody else has. Yeah, Talmage, I think, did a Mormon philosophy. You guys think he's so smart because he uses big words and articles of faith and Jesus the Christ. But when you get out your dictionary and you check the words, you go, oh, okay, he's just plagiarizing the Old Testament but putting different words in the places. He's not so bright after all. And I also took all of Eva Vasilevska's anthropology of the ancient Middle East. See, she knew how to label that. I took it all. I found her, and fountain of knowledge. And if you don't know her, she's the only American allowed in Saddam Hussein's Iraq to do archaeological digs. She's the only female allowed to do archaeological digs in Iraq under Saddam Hussein. She's the one who made the discovery of Yah, the Hebrew God, as an anthropomorphic deity. He's got a penis. And he has a brother, Baal, which means they have father and mother. That's her. She is the foremost expert in that field. And I was her apprentice and have now become the master. Literally, because of my continuing research. It was in her courses where I was beginning to make the connection of the Bible stories with the Egyptian petroglyph stories, hieroglyph stories, facsimiles, as we call them in the church. So facsimile number 1, yeah, I know exactly what Joseph Smith was doing. He's right. And I don't understand why Egyptologists don't catch on. But they weren't part of the Zeitgeist movement, as D.M. Murdoch was, and Gary Greenberg with his 101 Myths of the Bible, etc. And so, you do not understand how superior of a knowledge I have of all things religion. I know the origin of religion. And so I can see other religions and go, oh, yeah, that came from the Egyptians of this, and this. And when people do the New Age movement crap, yeah, no, guys, that's not ancient. That's not the origin. Egypt is the origin. Zoroastrianism, Egypt. Those other religions throughout history, throughout the world, over time, are devolved from Egyptian. Devolved. Not evolved, devolved. They are corruptions of the original. And so our sacrament. Where in the Gospels does Jesus' body get broken? Oh, it's a broken heart and a contrite spirit, Travis. Really? So the bread representing the body of Christ is the broken heart. Okay. Yeah, you go with that. I'll stick to the ancient original religion of Egypt. That's Osiris's body that was broken up by Set, who murdered him to usurp his throne. And so all of the signs in the heavens, this was all part of my research and study, education, were designed, and yes, they have the Roman and Greek names: Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Saturn. And our names of the calendar: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And the days of the year, they were all designated with God names, for the most part. And it's all tied in together. And if you do not understand that when you have a description of a sign in the heaven, you're given a star date. This is astronomy. It's a hard science, in case you were confused. Astrology? No. Pseudoscience. Fake. They purposely manipulate you into getting you to do their will, especially if you pay them. If you're a sucker and a loser. So all those crystal ball people down in New Orleans, that's just a job for them to con you out of your money. You know, like the shell game. It's not a legitimate business. It's not a legitimate thing that they're doing. They're not speaking to the dead. They're not foretelling your future. They are purposely manipulating you, using psychological warfare against you. Psychology, likewise, is not a hard science. 2.5 Men, the psycho on the show. She mocks Alan for being a chiropractor, who he got a PhD in chiropractic, but he's not a real doctor, and so everybody mocks him for that. And she says, oh, I'm a psychiatrist, which means I can prescribe drugs. I'm a real doctor. No. No, you're not. You're not. You're also a fraud. And the government allowed that fraud. As you can see, she doesn't do any scientific research in the cases of the Harper family. She's just there for comedic entertainment value. But that's exactly what they do in their actual job. That's a scary thing. And so, when the scriptures talk about the latter days, and they're giving signs in the heavens, and I'm not talking generally, sun shall be darkened, moon turned to blood, stars fall from heaven. No, revelation, specific conjunctions virgin, covered with the sun, moon at her feet, 12 stars on her head, pregnant, giving birth, God sitting on his throne, because Joseph Smith translation moves that to that sign, because it's accurate. God was sitting on his throne for that sign. That's a star sign in the heavens. It's a star date, because the more you add in, the more celestial bodies into a specific constellation, and in this particular case it's Leo and Virgo, that's what's on her head. The more you add, the more rare and precise the day and the hour. Yeah, day and the hour. No man knows the day or the hour, Travis. Really? That's because you're dumb. It's because the author is dumb. They gave us the day and hour. Matthew does. But then goes and says, no man knows the day or the hour. That's what's called a redactor, who comes into the author's work and throws it in. You know, like women should keep silent in church. Just threw it in. How do we know this? Romans 16. Women don't keep silent in church. Paul knows this. So it's not Paul who put that in, that other passage, that women should keep silent in church. Because women had priesthood office, not just priesthood. 17th of March, 1842. Do you now understand why it is not in our Doctrine and Covenants? I just thought, let's check it out. Let's do a video. We'll check it out in real time, all together. Oh, deacon, teacher, etc. Oh. Does Oaks know about this? And so, yes, I was already starting to do church history research, because it was Doctrine and Covenants. We're getting to the lesson where Joseph Smith is assassinated. My neighbor, Brother Blunt, asked me before church or Sunday school started, did you know that Joseph Smith had a gun, a pistol? I go, yeah, my third great grandfather's pistol was given to Joseph Smith in Carthage jail. Oh, did you know they had two? I did not know that. He had two, huh? Interesting. And so I did some research after that and realized, oh crap, I need to go back to the beginning, because that's what you do when you're investigating a crime scene. You don't isolate the crime scene from everything else that's involved. You got to find out what happened leading up to the event. You got to find out who benefited after the event. You got to find the money trail, as well as get a forensic investigator to examine the crime scene to see what's going on. And we've all seen the TV shows and the movies about forensic investigation. And yeah, this is why I do the videos the way I do them, guys. I am educated, I am experienced, I am the foremost expert on all things Mormonism, and now history of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. My videos trump everything else you thought you knew. And if you don't understand that, I'll give you a case example. Who wrote the Book of Mormon? This is for ex-Mormons. Who wrote the Book of Mormon, ex-Mormons? I'll give you a hint. Wasn't Joseph Smith. But he had a rock and a hat. He dictated it to Martin Harris. No. Joseph Smith was babysitting Martin Harris, making him feel like he was a part of the project. Joseph Smith was the distraction. Why? How? How did the Book of Mormon get written then? Who wrote it? You know! Sidney Rigdon is the major author of the Book of Mormon. He's out in Ohio, working on it. But if you're not gonna get a clue, if you're not going to trust that the Book of Mormon is the Word of God exposing the great and abominable church, you're just helping the church solidify their position. And you're going to say, oh, I wish I could go back. If they had just changed that one thing. Yeah, they got you. They tricked you. And they're using that misinforming information to guilt trip you back. That is the evil of Scientology. That is the evil of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As Nelson was all smug reading about the name of the church and quoting from section 115. It shall be called in the latter days? Really? So it's not now? And Nelson's reading it, calling it the name of the church, as we're now in the latter days, fulfilling prophecy. Good job, Nelson. And so you guys hear hearsay from people's journals of those who are kidnapped, being held hostage, and being forced to give this misinformation in their journals if they want to live. To do Brigham Young a favor, though. See the angel with the flaming sword telling Joseph to practice polygamy openly and immediately in defiance of the laws of the United States? Or he's going to be struck down where he is, you know. Did you check the dates of when those came out? When did Brigham Young openly practice polygamy? Yeah. If you're going to do real research, you've got to put all those pieces together so that you can dismiss the lies of those who want a certain narrative told. So just like with Ukraine, the Russian state news is saying Putin's the victim. He's trying to go in to settle the dispute between the Russian separatists and Ukraine, who's the oppressors against them. And so he's on a peacekeeping mission to, get people to behave. He's the good guy as he's blowing up Ukraine. Like in Mars Attacks. Stop. Don't run. We're your friends. And Putin purposely lies for this reason. Just like in Mars Attacks. Because guess what? It's working. The rest of the world has stayed away. You know, I hope they finally figured out, hey, maybe we should go in now, start defending Ukraine, but Putin's at it again. Oh yeah, I want to have talks. He's telling the state TV that, oh yeah, Ukrainian's president wants to have talks and surrender. He told China this, the Chinese emperor. He's not the president, in case you didn't know. He's an emperor now. If the news is calling Xi, however it's pronounced, that he's the president of China, you've forgotten, way back in 2017, he declared himself emperor. He has restored the empire in China. And so the news is just not respecting and acknowledging that. And he will get mad if you call him president rather than emperor, just like he'll get mad when you call Taiwan the Taiwan rather than the Chinese Republic of Taiwan, or Hong Kong, the Chinese Republic of Hong Kong. They're all his, and he's going after Australia now, so it's the Chinese Republic of Australia. And anybody who disagrees and says, well, it's Taiwan, an independent nation, no, he'll demand you apologize. Otherwise, he'll destroy you financially. That's Bill Maher's thing last week or 2 weeks ago. Last week, I think. And so let's go over the wrath. Or should I make this a separate video? Because it's 42 minutes. Let's do this a separate video, even though this one won't get watched. And so, yeah, I understand I have the knowledge you don't, and so I'm trying to teach step by step. And if you go from the beginning on Travis Wayne Goodsell to the present, making sure you got the videos from TWG that are not on Travis Wayne Goodsell and Travis Wayne Goodsell that are not on TWG, that you will see and you will learn. And at this point in time, there's just so much now. You're way behind. Because the latter days was way back when. And I've been taking you on this journey. And so now here we are in what technically I am hoping it's a final countdown. That's my theme song for the day 6. It's the final countdown. One hit wonder from Europe. But when the church only gives you to learn and tells you not to learn truth, that should be a red flag. Because for me as a kid, when I got the new edition of the scriptures with the triple combination coming out in 1981, I saw the Egyptian in the facsimiles of Abraham. It could have been earlier, because they were in the Doctrine and Covenants earlier, and it actually might have been. When I asked my mom, what is this? What does it say? And my mom just replied, well, that's higher level learning. Like, after you go through the temple and you have the Spirit with you to understand it. She just couldn't say, I don't know. She had to make up a story of made up doctrine to dismiss it. And that wasn't good enough for me. As a kid, I wanted to know what it said. Because somebody wrote it, somebody knows what it says. Why does nobody know what it says? Why is it higher level learning? That didn't make sense to me. The whole process of school was to learn these things. And so, yeah, that's why I went into the fields of study that I did for my education. And did my career based on my research. All the publications, decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew, decipherment of the larger hieroglyphs of Egyptian, because apparently you don't know the difference. I am the one who named it, but yeah, that's what happens when you're a pioneer researcher. You get to name things. And so yeah, there's a number of stuff that are field-specific terms that I made. And so I can't tell those to you because you don't know the field. And so I have to try to describe it in more detail for you. But yeah, facsimile number 1, as I already went over with you. Egyptologists don't see anything there to translate. It's not in their sign lists. And so having deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, went, oh, I see, these need to be translated too. They're not being translated. Oh, wait a minute, Joseph Smith did this. Oh, I see what he did. See, I didn't have the bias of Joseph Smith, changing science and the scientific method. I used the scientific method for test and then saw the patterns with what Joseph Smith did. And so I did, again, facsimile number 3 for you the other day. Going over that. Let me find the title. But nobody cared, last I saw. You guys do not understand what you're passing up because of the church's evil indoctrination of you. Even though you're ex-Mormon also. Why is that one first? I never click on it. I never want to go to it. And yet there it is at the top of the search. The TWGT. Wow, it was quite a ways back. 2 days ago. Yeah, that's Sunday school lesson for tomorrow. Dear God. The marriage of Isaac and Rebecca. There it is, facsimile number 3. Church isn't telling you this. I'm telling you this, and there's only 39 views. But maybe I should have put the other stuff. The fly. You see, for me, I know the subject matter, so that's hilarious. But you guys don't know the subject matter, and you're fly. What? Is that some Monty Python thing? With the killer rabbit? Yeah, it's exactly that. Which Chaucer, yeah, it was apocalyptic literature. King Arthur is the Holy Grail. And Camelot, that's Zion. And so his discussions of the mortal weaknesses of each of the knights is about the perfection of the human, to be worthy of Zion. So there's your Chaucer for you in Cliff Note form. I just explained Chaucer in a sentence. But yeah, my instructors were guessing. Yeah, so yes, I did take literature, and he literally was guessing. People are saying it might have something to do with this, or it could be that. Yeah, so he had us do literature reports. So I did mine in the lingo franco of Yoda, sort of. It was a variation. I mixed nouns and verbs around. But, yeah, he was, like, all excited about my paper. Wanted me to read it in front of the class, but we ran out of time that day. But, yeah. Fun times. But, yeah. So, do you understand that if I have to keep repeating this information for you over and 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 over, we never get to the topic. See, all these videos are prerequisites for what I just gave you. You have to know me before you can understand what I'm telling you. And I don't have to understand you. Don't tell me to change my video presentation to something that you find acceptable. You're not getting it. This is my YouTube channel. It is my method of presentation, not yours. If you're going to dismiss it because the church tells you to, if you're going to dismiss it because of the indoctrination that the church has done to you, even as an ex-Mormon, you're going to miss vital information. Because we're at war now. This is World War III. This is Armageddon. This is Magog, whatever word you understand it as. And this is what I've been warning about from the beginning of YouTube. When I first found out, I set aside my research on Hebrew, developing publications. I only got to the script and I rushed to get it finished. And it's on Academia, so you don't have to pay for it on Amazon. You can download your own copy. I refer you to the index because that's the Cliff Notes. Amazon had a page max requirement, and so I wasn't able to put that index at the back of the original book like I wanted to. So it had to be a separate thing. And so, yeah. And I'm having to learn how to format and design the Word program for all this, because trying to get all the information on a single page was complicated, and so I had to make them a certain size so that it would be on the 2 pages, and so that it wouldn't have yeah, it was a lot of work, and it would have been nice to have done it better. It was frustrating with Kindle, but I never got to publish the vocabulary part yet, and then the translation part. I did get a lesson manual out where I threw them in at the end of it, but it was all for the script, because the script have meaning. That's the decipherment that I made, that each letter has meaning, so that when you combine them with other letters, you have a more fuller communication. Each word now is a whole bunch of information. So you've heard a picture is worth 1,000 words. Each letter is a picture. And so when you combine pictures together, it's 1,000 words to the 1,000th word power. And so even what I did was limited in a basic understanding. There's still more to go over with you when I get to the vocabulary. And so I've been throwing it out here in my videos, the vocabulary portion. And I don't know how long I'll be in this position. I thought at the beginning of 2001 my mission assignment was over. The beginning of 2017, after I had made I was researching and figuring things out for the latter days, after having learned about the solar eclipse, had a dream in which the interpretation was that I was going on a mission. I was in a home at the top of the mountains, and I was in my bedroom. I was packing 3 suitcases, 3 months. And my dad comes in, and I can't remember the conversation. And so I then take the suitcases. I'm walking outside to a pickup truck that's parked, and as I'm walking to the pickup truck, I look to my left into the forest, and I see Mormon missionaries, little kids, men. It was 3 or 4 of them, who were walking in the forest. And I yelled out to them, "Hey guys, I'm going on a mission too. It's just a different mission." Put my suitcases in the back of the pickup truck and woke up. And so I tried to see what kind of mission I would be called to in 3 months, and came and went, and I'd never caught on. And then in retrospect, I don't know how long after, if it was years or months, I realized, oh, I got it, the record of the people, because that's what I was doing, obtaining the record of the people during all this time. So I thought that was over in 2001, and turns out no, not quite. And so I don't know when America's destruction and collapse is going to occur. I don't know when Utah's destruction and collapse is going to occur. If it's going to be the same with America or if it's going to be separate, don't know yet. I know the prophecies, and it seems like Utah is going to be separate from America. But just the other day I realized, oh yeah, that's been fulfilled, as I tell you in the video at the very beginning. The church abandoning us is the fulfillment of the parable of section 101, verse 43. Verse 51, technically. As they're going around the world, distracted from what they did last night. God, that pissed me off. Just the arrogance that they think we've all forgotten about Nazi Germany and how the church supported Hitler. And I would not be surprised if in the financial documents the church supported financially Hitler's Nazi Germany in some form or fashion. Not just punishing Mormons who aided and abetted Jews to safety. Moroni and the swastika. You cannot be on Putin's side. He is the enemy. He is the aggressor. Ukraine was independent, and Putin bullied his way in. First in 2014 with Crimea, and the world let him get away with it. And now they're letting him get away with this. And so if you're rooting for Putin, you're the bad guy. You're the enemy of mankind. Because Ukraine are just defending themselves. They just want a place to live in peace away from Russia. And yes, Russia had their plants, their sleeper cells, to cause a disturbance, to claim that they're the victims, that Ukraine won't go back to Russia. All part of the red flag operation. So, man, I really wanted to get to this. We'll see. I guess I'll do it while I'm saving this video.